Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live virtual conference brought to you by Our Hometown. I am your host, Matt Larson. I'm the president and CEO of Our Hometown. And today we're going to be talking about reverse publishing from website to InDesign. Specifically, we'll be talking about how some of our customers are taking articles from WordPress, their WordPress website, and getting it into InDesign. And I'm really excited for this conference today. We've got a special guest with us. She is let's bring up her slide here. She is the editor and publisher of Litmore Publications. This is a group of 5 weekly papers in New York, out on Long Island. Garden City News, Bethpage Newsgram, Jericho News Journal, Syosset Advance, and the Mid-Island Times. So she's very busy every week. And she's one of the early adopters of this technology. So I couldn't think of a better guest to have on today to explain how she does this. So please, everyone, welcome to the virtual conference, Meg Norris. Meg, thank you very much for joining me today.
Hi.
Welcome to the stage, the virtual stage. So let's get right into it because we got a lot to cover today, and I really want to make sure that we have enough time for everyone to ask questions. So let me just give a quick outline, and more people are trickling in now. This is great. So thank you, everyone. Hey, Brent, welcome. Nate, Steven, how you guys doing? Thank you for joining. So let's jump into this. We've got a quick outline for you. I'm expecting this to end up to be last around 30 to 45 minutes. That's usually how long it takes. If you got to jump off, we will send the recording to everyone, but please try to get your questions in before you leave. So the first thing I want to outline is just what do we mean by reverse publishing? What are we talking about when we say that? Another term that we use for reverse publishing is actually digital first publishing, because it's, starting with the website and then the print comes second. So what are the benefits of taking that kind of approach? We'll talk to Meg about some of the benefits she's seen. And then we're going to go into a demonstration of exactly how to export an article from WordPress to InDesign. And I'm going to, at that point, turn over control to Meg. She'll be demonstrating on her computer. So you're going to see exactly how she does this every week for 5 papers. Okay, and then we'll open it up to questions. But at any point in this conference, I want you guys to please don't hesitate to ask questions. So we don't have to save them to the end. If I miss any during the intro, or during the whole thing, we'll address them at the end. But let's just quickly get everyone on the same page with this. So we've got a bunch of attendees. I'd like you to please go in and locate the questions area of GoToWebinar. It's going to be in the control panel that you have on the right side of your screen, and it says questions in a gray bar, and it's about halfway down on that control panel. If you open that up, then you can type anything in there, questions, comments. So let's start off by just having everyone locate that. Please write in your paper name and your location, your city and state. Just write that in the questions area, and we'll just confirm that everyone sees that, so that whenever you have a question, you know exactly where to go. You don't have to dig for it, and we can get it answered right away. Okay. Hey, Brent, representing Savannah, Missouri. Thank you very much for jumping in. So we'll watch for those that feedback. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for that to come in. So okay, now let's move on here to, I'll get a quick poll for you guys. This is just for my marketing purposes. And Meg, maybe you can give me some feedback here. I guess I just told you about it directly, but I'd be interested if you saw it anywhere else, because this is just for me to understand how people learn about these things. We promote these on Facebook, YouTube, and email primarily. We have a newsletter that goes out to non-Our Hometown customers and Our Hometown customers. And I know today it's kind of a split down the middle. Half of the people are currently with Our Hometown, half aren't. So if you could all participate in this poll, I'm going to launch poll. This is an interactive thing, so all attendees should be able to select from one of these options. So go ahead and choose an answer. We'll leave this up for a few more seconds. Looks like pretty dominant on email, 100% right now. 67, let's see if we can get everyone to vote. 67% has voted for email, 100% so far. Okay.
I can't vote in this, but for your other virtual conferences, I kept seeing Google AdSense ads were like following me around the internet.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. No, every time I was looking at websites, I'd see you.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I need to add that as an option then. So that would be other. So if anyone heard about us on Google or AdSense at all, that would be really interesting to know.
Okay. And I think Facebook too. I saw it there as well.
Oh, right. Yeah. We've been doing a lot with Facebook. That's actually something I'm thinking about doing a conference on in the future. Just talking about how to market on Facebook. I'm learning a lot about that. It's incredibly powerful. So let's see here. Let's end that poll. Looks like 100% learned about us through email. So thank you very much. Let's move on. Now, what is reverse publishing? Okay, so this is like the traditional newspaper workflow. I just want to lay this out. And Meg, if you have any feedback for me on this, I'd be interested to know how you used to do it before you adopted reverse publishing, like if it differed from this at all. And again, anyone that has any comments on what you do right now, any of the attendees, let me know. If you lay out your workflow or tell me if it's the same as this or what's different. I'd be really interested to know. So usually what a newspaper does, and they've been doing for decades, ever since kind of the internet came around, was the reporters would write the articles in Word, and then they would email the drafts directly to the editor. Okay, then the editor would have to download those pages, make their changes, and save a final version, send that to the paginator. Then the paginator would download the file again, open it in Word and from the email. Then they would copy and paste each article into the InDesign template. Then the final PDF is exported and sent to the printer. Okay. Now, how does that match what you used to do, Meg? Is that more or less the same?
More or less. I used to open the Word document and stick it into InDesign and kind of leave a rough, I'd edit it in that and then save it, and then the paginator would clean it up and make it attractive looking. Right. I also have a system where I have our paginators try to save things in kind of standardized size units, like a quarter page or a half page, if they can. Sometimes we have to tweak it, just so that when we do the final page layout, I put a quarter page article here and a half page article here, and I can just grab from the different size articles.
Interesting.
But everybody probably has their own oddball way of doing it.
That's right. I think everyone's going to be different. That's exactly why I wanted to get feedback on this. So basically, you're saying that you would put it into InDesign rather than having the paginator do it, and then they would do their thing and make it look good.
Right. They put the pictures in and the captions and fix the headlines and Okay. But I do the editing in InDesign typically. So
right. Oh, okay. Interesting. Right. Hey, so Brent, if you can hear me, I'd love to know what you're doing right now. We're going to talk about this next week in more detail. I know you're really interested in moving to this workflow, so let me know what's different. But then the last step, which is just kind of a headache for most publishers and kind of made people resent the internet, because now it's like, now you're creating more work for me. Now someone has to copy and paste those articles from, I think it's usually InDesign, because that's the final version. Right, that's what was in. So they probably wouldn't go back to the Word file, although maybe they did, and then they would have to paste that into the website CMS. So it sounds like that's what you pretty much did, Meg, right?
Yeah. Well, we were one of your earlier customers.
I'm sorry.
We were doing we'd send you the PDFs of the page, and you guys would pull it out and
right.
But
of course.
It made it, I couldn't tweak it as I went, and I couldn't make it look the way I wanted it to look, because you guys would be doing it.
Exactly. Yes. So that was, yeah, I totally was just thinking about other publishers when I said that. But yes, so you were using our full service extraction, which is actually what Brent is using now at the Reporter. So yeah, I mean that it removes the need for people to copy and paste. It takes that burden off them, but you give up a certain amount of control there. So that's a really good point. Okay, so let's talk about thinking outside the box, the proverbial box and the literal box on this page. So the reverse publishing workflow, with this approach, the reporters can write the articles directly in the WordPress CMS, and then they can assign them to the editor so that there's no emailing of drafts back and forth. Now, I think, Meg, your process is you actually still maintain control of what goes on the website. You're the one putting it in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a slightly different thing, and that's just a matter of preference, so that you're the final say on what goes on the website.
Right.
So that would be a slight tweak on this. But the point, I think the key here is that it's all coming to you, and then you put it in one place, and it's in the CMS from the get-go, basically. And then the editor can review the story once it's in there, schedule that article to go live on the website, and then they can actually set the status as ready for print. Now, this would be, I see it as for more like maybe an operation with more people involved, because I think you're doing a lot of this yourself,
Right.
so you don't really need to assign the article to yourself.
Right.
You know what's ready for print. So, maybe that doesn't quite apply, but I think, for some of the other publishers that are considering this, if you're the editor and you have people writing in the CMS for you, and then you've got a different paginator that needs to know the status of the article, this is how you would do it. Okay, then the paginator bulk exports the entire edition to InDesign. I think in your case, Meg, you're doing the export, and then do you email it to the paginator, or how does that work?
No, we just have a shared folder on our server, and so I just save it into the shared folder, and he grabs it from there.
Cool.
But if you were to do we could do a bulk export like you have here. I'm just doing one at a time, but there's no reason you couldn't do it that way.
Right. Okay, great. Now we actually have a comment here from Brent, and I just want to address this. So, like I said, Brent is seriously considering moving away from full service extraction and doing this. So he says, I'd like to follow the same process as Meg, quote, having the final say for what goes on the website. That makes a lot of sense. One issue I'd have moving to reverse publishing flow would be the retaining or the retraining portion for my employees. I'm lucky that they're able to use Dropbox as our CMS. That required a great amount of training. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, the retraining thing I think is probably the reason that a lot of people haven't done this yet, because it makes sense when you look at it on paper, but retraining can sometimes be a headache. So do you have any advice on that, Meg? I mean, it sounds like you just decided to do it and you just did it because it's you.
Yeah, it's not at all hard when you learn how to do the export the file and then to drag it into InDesign is very, obvious. Like you grab the thing and you pull it over here and it pops into life.
Right.
When we do the demonstration, I think you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of retraining involved.
That's right. Yeah. We'll definitely address that in a second, Brent. And the other thing you said is the additional benefit with my workflow is that I'm the paginator here. So that is definitely simplifies things. So there's, like I said, there's no rescheduling or assigning for you. Okay. We're going to wrap this up here and then get to the demo in just a second. Use this drag and drop to place the elements on the template. So I have a lot of words on this page because I want you to see how it contrasts to the old step 4, where the paginator copies and pastes, which can be, very mundane. If you can just bulk import everything into InDesign and drag and drop, as we'll see, it's just way simpler and just more intuitive, really. So then the final PDF is exported and sent to the printer. That's the exact same process. But then this is the last step that's not even really a step, because the article is automatically published at the scheduled time. And I think you're doing that, Meg, right? You kind of embargo the articles until print comes out.
Mostly, although, like, for example, we had a village election this week and I wanted to get those results up immediately. So that I put up immediately. And you can decide from article to article, you know, which ones you want to do now or schedule them for other times.
Right, right. Okay, good. Yep, perfect. Good feedback on that. Okay, I think we're good on this slide. So that's what is reverse publishing. This is the last thing before we get to the demo. I just really want people to understand why you would do this. Besides, you know, the efficiencies in the process that we just discussed, there's a whole bunch of other benefits. First of all, the whole process is centralized, but it's also in the cloud. So you get the benefit of having like a centralized server that maybe a lot of people have in their office, but you know, sometimes you might have to go into the office to do the work. So, you know, if you're doing it like this and writing your stories on the website, it's all in the cloud. So with everyone working remote now, you could still update the website and manage the content there without, you know, accessing that regardless of location. And that's because at our hometown, we host our WordPress websites on Amazon Web Services, which is a cloud-based service. So that's one benefit. As Meg just mentioned, you can publish breaking news on the website in real time. So it can be whatever stories that you want ahead of the print edition can go out there with no extra work. I mean, that's the real thing. Like, of course, anyone could copy and paste an article onto the website that's breaking news. You know, everyone controls their website in that way, but this allows you to do it with just like a click of a button without any extra work is the idea there. You can use, since you're publishing more in real time, you could, you know, alert your newsletter audience to daily updates, because there's fresh content every day. So, you know, maybe get more use out of that newsletter and send out just like one story a day even. You know, that might be a little bit much, but maybe like just rather than one newsletter a week, you could do 2 or 3. And you know, that actually really helps get your audience to open the newsletters more. Mobile responsive websites allow for mobile first publishing, so it's not just digital first, but by getting it on the website, it's on the mobile website at the same time. This is an interesting idea, and I wanted to ask you about this. Does this ever happen for you, Meg? It's just kind of an idea that I thought is technically possible, but I don't know if it's actually happening for you. Like, if you put out that story that you put out earlier this week, is there ever a time where you get feedback or the article changes because you put it out early? You know, there's maybe
I guess it could. I mean, yeah, I hadn't actually thought of that, but yeah, I mean, for example, somebody commented that I they wanted to know who the write-in winners were in the village, excuse me, village election, and
Right.
yeah, I guess that's something I could have added.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, there's a real life example right there. Okay. Now, one idea I had for this is that you could maybe test out different headlines or different featured images, like in your newsletter. That would be the place to do it. So, I mean, we're getting a little bit off on a tangent here, but like, you can't do A/B testing really on the website. I mean, you sort of could, because you could put a headline up first and then change it and see which one gets more clicks. But I think the newsletter is really a more scientific test, because you could split your newsletter audience into 2 A and B groups, and then actually, you know, have different headlines or different featured images on those stories and see which one gets a higher click rate or something. You know, just an idea that would be made possible if you're doing everything on the website first. So I'm guessing you haven't quite done anything.
No, I haven't tried that.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
You just do the newsletter once a week, right?
Yeah, I have a couple of colleagues here who send out like 4 and 5 newsletters a week, and I think they're spamming the channel. I think that's not a great idea. It depends.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I agree. 4 or 5 is definitely it's pushing the limits, testing people's patience. I mean, in a way, it kind of allows you to get to the most interested people, because if they're only like marginally interested, then they'll unsubscribe. And I actually
I've got like a 50 or 60% open rate most weeks. I mean, it's
that's
huge.
fantastic.
That's great. But I only send out one a week usually. I mean, I've tried it. I've sent out a couple of email blasts for advertising, but I don't want to overdo that either. So
no, for sure. Yeah, it's always a balance between keeping the subscribers and you know, keeping them engaged, really keeping them period, and keeping them engaged. And then, you know, the story can evolve online as the events unfold, and then you kind of have that final version that gets exported. And something I just want to mention for anyone on the call that isn't with our hometown, but you have a WordPress site, we do have a plugin that you can use on your WordPress site. It's a brand new plugin, and we can, you know, give that, just that piece to you if you wanted to try this out without, you know, fully switching your website to our hometown. That's something that we're kind of experimenting with at this stage, but it is an option. Okay, let's do this live demo with Meg.
right.
So,
share the screens, right?
yes. Okay, now I'm gonna assign it to you here. Let me switch to the staff. Meg Norris, make presenter. Okay. There you go. You should see something pop up.
Okay,
somewhere.
share my main screen. Yes. Okay.
Oh, it gave you the option. That's perfect.
Right. But do you see my screen? No.
I do see your screen. I see, what is that? Yosemite?
Right. Okay. So it's
Where right where your cursor is, actually.
Okay. So if I open this, okay. I just want to make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing here.
Yep, I'm seeing that browser right there. Yeah.
So, as Matt said, often, you know, you get your article sent to you by email in Word, for example. And I'm just going to pop that open. My Word is a little slow, which has always been annoying.
Oh, right.
Right. Oh, it's opening. Okay. Sorry about that. No, while that's opening, I'm going to show you what all right, let's open in the background. What to look. So to get into the reverse publishing, you got to be logged into your website, and you open your dashboard here.
Right.
Real soon now. There we go. And obviously, you need to, you know, have your articles and your reverse publishing plugins set up by our hometown.
Right.
Let me show you. All right, you know, we'll just start with the work thing. So this is an article that was sent to me by one of my reporters, and we used this a few weeks ago, but I'm just using it for sample. We've got there's a photo that goes with it, and a caption and a headline and his byline right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up as an article, and here's all of our articles for the week are here, and we're going to call it. Oh, I guess I started it last. All right, we're just going to start a new one. That was actually my practice one yesterday, but it's the same thing. All right.
Cool.
So let's see if Word behaves itself today. Last time, no, it's not. Yeah.
I remember this.
I really got to get a newer version of Word that doesn't do this annoying thing.
The buffer.
It buffers for a bit until it decides you finally actually there. That should do it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's the headline.
Yep.
And then I'm going to put in the byline for the reporter, which is Gary.
Right. So not a lot of people know about this, and I want to definitely point this out to Brent. We have this separate field for the byline. So if you're doing full service, we're assigning it to that. But this is a field so that then when we do the export, it's all structured and the XML file knows what's what. So
yeah, the basic 4 fields that I have set up, and I don't know if you guys do more than that, but I have a headline, the text of the article here, the byline, and you can also do a subhead, which this article doesn't particularly have, but you could have one if you wanted.
Right.
This will make more sense when you see the reverse publishing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard to conceptualize without actually seeing it. So
right. Okay. So I've pasted the article in here, and let's say I go and I edit it, you know, and I make any corrections and changes in here that I want.
Right.
After it's set up, and you have all of the fields filled in that you need to fill in. And there are other things you can do here with your social settings, but I'm not going to really get into that today.
Okay.
On this side of the screen, you have a bunch of different options, and if you are missing any of these options, go look up here in screen options because they may be checked or unchecked.
Good.
Yeah, learned that one the hard way. Took me
Yeah.
a little while to figure some of that out. Okay, in the publishing thing, you generally want to keep it as public. I guess there's other options. I don't, you can, I guess if you were doing, as Matt said, the, where you want to have your editor look at it first, I suppose you could change it to private or one of the others, but I don't normally use those.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say in that case, you could just leave it as a draft.
Right, that's true. Status up here is draft. I leave it as draft because I like to schedule my articles to come out around when our print edition comes out. Yep. For this, I'm going to schedule it like a couple of days off so it doesn't actually pop it. If I put today's date, it will go right onto my website, and since this has already been used, I don't want to do that again. Sure. So I'm just going to schedule it for a couple of days off for this purposes here. Okay. And then when you do that, it changes to schedule from publish.
Right.
Okay. All right. You have to give it a category because the widgets that are used to display everything on your website look for categories, and so I'm just going to call this one community. You could also give it multiple categories if you wanted it on the front page and in the community section, for example.
Right.
Okay. Tags. Let's just say this was like from the school district, which it's not, but we're just gonna Garden City.
Okay. So
I believe this helps with SEO. I'm not really too clear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, we're just gonna. All right. We'll say it's a historical study.
Okay.
You can add multiple tags if it's from like more than one category of things.
Right.
Okay.
You use tags a lot. It looks like those are all preset.
Yeah. Well, it's all the Garden City is the town this one's in.
Right. Okay.
Okay. For editions, this is critical that you pick an edition. I'm going to pick next week's edition, so it doesn't do anything weird to my website. The editions used for when your newsletter, if you use the automated newsletters, it's looking for that edition. It's also for the reverse publishing that it picks up the right articles.
Right.
Okay. This story also had a photo with it, so let me grab that photo and put it in here and its caption as well. Let's close that.
Awesome. Yes, that will.
Yeah. It's helpful for showing you how it works. Yeah. So we're just gonna upload this picture, which.
Okay. I usually don't do drag and drop. That's kind of nice. So you see how this.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I use drag and drop for almost everything on your website. It's great.
Okay.
Let me see. I need to. Oh, damn! I closed it. Okay. The caption was in the Word document. Let me open that back up again.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So it was down here.
Right.
And again, you can edit right here if you wanted to. Okay. You also need to put in alt text, which for accessibility reasons.
Yep. That is definitely good.
To describe what's in the picture. Right now, I'm just going to put the caption in again, which it's something. Yep. It's better than nothing. Ideally, you describe what the picture looks like.
Right.
Okay. So you insert that, and you can edit the way it looks if you wanted to make it centered. Instead, for example, you put it there. You want to use a larger version of it.
Right.
You can do that.
That's actually something I want to emphasize. It's better to choose the full size rather than drag the corner, right?
Yeah, really? Oh, does it give you a better?
So.
Okay.
Well, you can downsize it, but if you take a small image and try to increase it, it can pixelate. So it's just better to use the full size there.
Okay. Now, if you want to see how this is going to look on your website, there's a preview here, which is really handy. Lately I've been playing with Adsense, so it's sticking ads in places that I'm not sure. Oh, it didn't. Yeah, I guess it is here. So just ignore that for now. That's a little bit of an experiment in progress.
Sure.
I'm not sure if I'm going to keep Adsense or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really like having an ad right in the middle of the story, but that's not this demonstration today. So anyway, this would be how it would look on the website. Assuming you can ignore the AdSense ads it's sticking in. And it's also set up to give you other articles from that category as well. And there's comments and things down here which people can leave, where you can turn off comments if you don't want comments on it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to send my team a note about AdSense because we work with a lot of customers that do that. And I think we can
Yeah.
help you keep it out of those areas, but I want to check.
Yeah, I actually was talking to your engineers because I'm trying to decide between paywall and using AdSense, because I'm making some good money on AdSense, but I also want paywall, so I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, you could do both. Yeah.
I'm getting like $100 a week on AdSense, which is kind of nice.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah,
excellent.
decent money.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to what we're actually doing here. All right, so after you put your tags and your additions, you want to set a featured image, which will be the what do you call it?
The thumbnail?
The thumbnail that's going to be on the website. And also, if you put it up on Facebook, this is the photo that would be used. If you had multiple photos, it would you could choose which one you wanted to use. I like to use the nicest photo for the thumbnail usually.
For sure.
Okay.
Did you know that you don't actually have to set it, and it will just choose the first one by default?
Yeah, I think I found that out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted you to point know that in case.
If you wanted to, I think also you sometimes if I have an article that doesn't really have a photo that goes with it, I have some art photos that I can just stick in there. Like if it's a library calendar, I might put a picture of books or something in and then make that the feature photo.
Right.
It's
stock images. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Facebook gives you a better placement if you have an image with your article. So that's
for sure.
All right. So now all these things are filled in. You schedule it.
Yep.
And
okay, very cool.
It's a second usually because I got a slow computer. Okay. And once it's scheduled, if you go over here to your articles tab and you go into all articles, you're going to see it. Actually, going to see it twice because I was playing with this last night, so we'll pretend that it didn't.
Right.
This is the one that we just did now because it's got the Historical Society. Okay. Yep. So now, you'll have your whole list of articles. There are ways that you can export them bulk up here, which I don't use, although like if you wanted to take an entire category of articles, you can use it from this screen here.
Okay.
Like if you wanted all of your community articles, you would just select filter for that and then do the bulk XML. But I'm going to just do one article at a time because that's how I do it.
Okay.
So you go into reverse publishing, and here I just want to show you once we get there. This is a little bit of setup you have to do when you first start it up, that these character styles have to match. Let me grab an InDesign. Okay. So our InDesign articles, here's a template that we use typically. Okay. If you see our InDesign articles, we have character and paragraph style sheets that are set up that we use all throughout our publications, like body indent is a particular font, particular type size, that kind of thing. Right. But when you first set up the Our Hometown reverse publishing, you have to make sure that you use the exact same label that, it's case sensitive as well. So it has to say body indent, we'll give you our body type. And that tells, I guess it tells Our Hometown where to, how to tag the articles as they're being exported.
Exactly.
So that's just a one-time thing you do it the first time you ever use it. It's not too hard.
Right.
Now, to export the article that we just did, you want to, you can choose like everything that you've done, or you can just choose the changes you've just made to this last edition date, which is the 25th that we just did.
Right.
So we I picked that one.
Do you usually do that? You just do the changes usually?
I just do changes, yeah. Because otherwise you get anything that's already been scheduled, and if you're just doing it one at a time, you'll keep getting the same ones over again.
Right. For sure.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's other people might have other choices to do it. And then you export. And over here I have my downloads folder open just to show you where it is. And this little zip file that just popped in there is the article we just did. So if you unzip it, which will take a second,
right,
and you get a folder, and you have the photo that we had uploaded, which is downloaded in the same resolution that you put it up in, which is handy. Doesn't change. And you get this little XML file out. And just to take a look at what's in it, if you open it, you see you'll see all the text that we had, and you'll see these little HTML tags throughout it. So you can see and down here it has a caption, like a graphic and an image file and a caption and everything here. So
Right.
this is what I usually open it just to make sure that it's what I think it is before I send it
Sure.
on to the paginator.
Right.
Change the file names. I'm going to close. Just put that down. All right. So here is our our reverse template, reverse publishing template.
Okay. Cool.
And it's pretty simple. You just go into the file, and it's import XML is one of the choices.
Right.
And then we choose it from, what do we have, desktop. Yeah, it's reverse publishing samples. And this is the article that we just, actually, that's the one from last, you know what, it was in my downloads folder. This is the same file from that I exported yesterday if you want to use that. Or, I mean, it's the same thing.
Right.
That was my practice.
Right.
Once it's imported, you see it here, this little caret pops up, and you get a node for each story. Now, if you were to export like a whole bunch of stories or a section at once, you get a node for each one. And when you turn that caret, you see there'll be the story with the title, byline, and the graphic. And this part I like. This is kind of cool. What is this?
Magic, as you said.
It looks like magic. You grab it and you pop it, and there's your headline.
Right.
And you pop it. Oh wait, no, that's his byline. Okay. Wait a minute. Let me undo that one.
Okay.
The body of the story in there.
Right.
And let's see. And then just for the byline, because they actually do need to pop into a different box. I usually pop it into one and then cut and paste them back in, but probably an easier way to do that.
Oh, I see. Yes, it does need, right, because you need a box for each, when you're dragging and dropping for each element. Yeah.
Each element needs a box. Now the graphic is the photo and the caption. And my template, I had, get out of here. Okay, I have a photo template set up here, so I'm just going to pull him over.
Okay.
Onto the box. All right, wait.
While you're doing that, let me just narrate for a second here.
Sure.
Everyone, can you see how the headline automatically went to 30-point font or whatever that is, and the body is normal? That's because of those tags that she was talking about. These are the character and paragraph presets.
Yeah.
You control those, or character styles and the paragraph styles.
Yeah.
So that's why that automatically resized.
Right. Now, actually, this was a good example, because sometimes a headline that looks okay on the website might not look great when I pop it in here. So I often will edit it at this point as well. So I might change it to television show.
Interesting.
After, I might eliminate a few words just to make it fit better.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. You could also adjust the size of the font,
You can adjust the size, that kind of thing.
Okay. Yep.
It does mean that you can make your headlines, you can work with them as you're doing it, so you're not just accepting whatever's on the website and vice versa.
Exactly.
Right. So when you have your photo set up here, you just drag it over.
Yep.
And it's right there. Let me just make sure the size is right on it. Let's see. Okay, so everybody's in it. Then there's a box for the caption. And that's here. Let me just pull him over.
Right.
Okay. And we got to make that. Okay.
Oh, that was a neat little shortcut.
Oh yeah, InDesign's got all sorts of cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then I just got a couple extra characters I want to.
What did you just do there to make that fit like that? You had a box over another box, I think.
Oh, there's a text wrap here. It says you wrap around the boxes, and you can also add like a margin there. Just to make it fit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's so much I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, InDesign has a lot of stuff in it. Yeah. You can also just click it to make it fit exactly right if you got a little tiny extra space here. I want to fix that. So okay, this article is now pretty much set up. Let me just zoom out a little. It's nice. Let me get rid of the. I'm going to get rid of the side panel there, so we don't have to look at that. Right. So this is set up as a standard half page in our system, and it's pretty quick to do that. It only took me like about half an hour to train the guy who does this how to drag it over and
right.
Everything else he was already doing anyway in InDesign.
Right.
So once you have, the way I do it, I have these saved, and then on the layout night we're pulling them in. And for example, here's a sample issue where.
Oh, I lost the audio on you for some reason.
You did?
Out of nowhere. Oh, it's back. I don't know what happened. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So this way, once I have an article all set, I can just drag it over into the issue, and there's another page done.
Interesting. So, okay, that I did not realize. Okay, that's what you were saying earlier. So you have like these.
How I have them saved as sort of standardized, chunks if I can.
Yeah. Okay. But I like that.
I don't know if other people do it that way. It's my own kind of innovation.
No, it is. Yeah. I mean, it's one of many innovations that we've seen here. So that is cool. Okay. We'll want to snip that clip, right, Steve, when we export this video. That's a good one. Cool.
And that's about all as far as I remember. I don't think I skipped anything this time.
No. Yeah. You hit it beautifully. That was absolutely exactly what I was hoping to see. So thank you, Meg. Right. I have a quick question for you here, actually, something that came from people. You mentioned changing the headline. Now, is there ever a time where you have to change something on the website as well? Like in that case, the headline was changed to fit better. But let's say like you had the wrong name of a person. How do you go about? Do you just change it in two places, or?
Oh yeah, well once it's been exported, you would have to go back and change it in both places, and so the print edition and the web edition are the same.
Right, right. Okay, and now that's something that I just want to tease for our office hours on Monday. We're going to talk about another potential way you could do that. I think it's going to depend on what the change is. Like if it's like just changing one word, it's probably easier to just change it in InDesign and change it on the website.
Right.
But if, let's say, your article significantly had to change and it's just like almost a completely different article and it's already been laid out, there are ways to export it again and then merge the changes. That's another possible.
So say I wanted to change the article. Oh, I don't know about merging. You can do that? I'm not familiar with that.
You wanna see it really quick? I'd love to show you, and I'll just walk you through it. So let's go to that article again, and I think we're gonna need to, because we ended up actually laying out the article that you wrote yesterday, right?
Right. Okay. So
let's actually change that one.
Okay, this is the one from yesterday.
Right. Let's change that one just so that I know this will work, because this is how. If it's a different article, even though it's got the same content, it may not work. So
you can tell the pictures. I think I used a lower res photo here.
Oh, okay, great. So why don't you just go in there and make like a word, completely change something.
Okay.
Like the name
Lieutenant John to the
John to the rescue. Perfect. Okay, so remember it's supposed to change from George to John.
Okay.
Let's update this. And I'll just point out that we've got the status in the reverse publishing box there. It shows it was last exported at that date and time. So you know that this has already gone to the paginator. If I'm making changes now, I need to tell them and update. Okay. So that's what that's for. Now let's go through that export again, so you can go to the all articles, or sorry, you do it
right.
You do it and just do changes. Actually, that's a really good use of the changes option.
Okay.
That you usually do. So if you want to check that middle radio.
Let me just check on that article whether I'm in the right.
Right.
I think it was the same. Let me check that the issue date was the same. Right. No, that has the 18th issue date. So over here on reverse publishing, I probably want to go back and use the 18th.
18th, right. Okay, got it. Yep. So and we can just, I think we can still just do the changes from the selected edition, right?
Right. Yeah, anything you change will always come back out again.
Right.
Okay.
Because that article has been changed since yesterday, which is
Correct.
when you did the export. Okay,
All right.
cool. Now let's
So,
take a look at that XML and just like you
all right.
do, a quick
Right.
check.
Okay, it takes a second when there's a photo. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Right.
No
Okay.
problem.
All right.
All right. While you're doing that, we got a comment here from Brent.
You know, it exported all sorts of other crap too. Let me just go through the export on that one article one more time, because you're going to see a bunch of stuff I did later in the day after that. So let me just pretend that didn't happen, and we'll just do this one more time here.
Yeah, no, this is okay. This is
yeah. So here it says John. We're going to update it one more time and then go back out.
Oh, okay. Right.
Because after I did
reset it.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So now we want to make sure it's the 18th, and changes should have just that one change now.
Right. No, this is good stuff. This is really pushing the limits of the functionality. Okay. Now it says one. That should still work okay because it's the second one.
Right.
And then we got our folder there.
There we do just the one photo and the XML.
Okay. Does it say John in the XML?
It does say John on this one. So this is the corrected version, right?
All right, we're halfway there. Let's do it. Let's do the layout.
Okay.
And so let me show you how the merge works.
Yeah. Should I open that article again?
Yeah, open up that InDesign template. Let's just do that one page. Okay, now let's go File, Import XML again.
Okay.
It's going to be the exact same process, actually, I think, as what you did before. You'll see what I mean.
I've got to go to my downloads folder this time.
Right. Downloads.
Right.
There's
right here.
Downloads, right. There you go. Okay.
Right.
And the one, this is actually the second one. Yeah.
Yes, this is the one. Okay. So that's the new version. Okay.
Right.
Now
look, you've actually got it checked down there. It says merge content at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
So this should just work if everything is set up the way I expect it. Now, it actually asks you again here for some reason.
Okay.
But let's just make sure. Whoa.
Oh, I did it. Wow.
I did it. Okay. It went blank for a second. Oh. Yeah, so you see now, everyone, it says John in the first sentence. So that's the one way, if you have a lot of changes, to just like wipe it clean kind of thing.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah. Man, any way that I can help it is awesome. Now, I just want to get Brent's comment in here. This is crazy useful feature because I often begin laying out the page before my copy editor is finished.
Right.
Because I want to check sizes and placing it as soon as possible. So there you go. That's a really good point, Brent. Okay, cool. So that's the merge. We're going to talk about that. We'll do another demo of that in the office hours next week, but that's kind of I call it a pro tip. It's like going above and beyond just the standard export. But I got to just give Meg the credit here for this because, we developed this thing years ago and she was always coming up with things like this to make it more useful. I think one of the ones that you came up with was the option to export drafts, because when we first came up with it, it was like you could only export live articles, but that would not work for you. So I just want everyone to know that this is a feature that we see as like the future of a lot of publishers' workflow, and we want to make it as useful as we can for anyone. So, if anyone ends up taking this up and start doing it themselves, just know that you can just send us ideas anytime you want, and we're probably going to be able to get it in place. Like most of the stuff is doable.
One thing I learned about drafts, this was a pro tip I just fairly recently learned, is that over in your articles tab, you have order display of articles. So if you're gonna like put up drafts of like 15 different articles, but you want them to appear in a certain order on your website, you can like, for example, my front page, I like to have a big picture and then the main story is next to it, but the big picture has to be the final one exported. So you can just drag these around and change the order. So I have it often set up to go live like 10 o'clock on Thursday nights, but I'll set it up so that like my big picture will be at the top of the list. Here, let me show you here.
That's like, a really good tip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like originally what I would do was I'd change the date that like I'd make it, one would go at 10:01, one would at 10:02, and that was kind of silly. Now I just have to go to that list and drag things around. So this picture gets to be the big one on that side.
So that list,
so this one is called Ready for School, and if you look over here on the articles list,
okay,
you go to where is it? Order display of articles.
Right.
And for front page, I set that one to be the top one, so that picture is larger than than the rest of the stuff on the page.
Right, exactly. Okay. Can you go to the front page again? I want to show everyone really quick another way you can do this that I think is kind of handy. So she went to the back end and located that function, and then she chose the widget. But what you
and I also can order like which of these is at the top of the list, for example.
Right. But another way to just get into that function is if you see how it says edit order to the right of front page stories.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, when you're logged in,
do that.
Yep. Same thing.
And then that'll just plug you right in, and then you've already got your stories. But then you can go to different widgets at this point.
Right.
But that was just something that occurred to me because of the way you went into it, a little different.
Right. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. Wow. We talked for the whole time, 50 minutes actually. So anything else that you want to show? I think you said that you pretty much covered everything, but I just want to.
Yeah. No, it's been. Oh, you didn't show also about sharing between multiple websites, because some of your potential customers may have. Because for me that's really helpful with my other core papers, because geographically they're near each other. Let me find an article, for example.
Yeah, let's find an article because you got to save it first. But
we'll just use this one because it's set to not. But if I wanted to share it with one of my other papers, I could just hit it here, and then everything goes right over to those websites with pretty much no other work besides that.
Right. So. And then you have it over there, and then do you usually export those articles for print and run them in the print edition too, or does that depend?
Yeah, I would export them from I usually work on one paper at a time, so when I'm exporting, I'm doing it all from the same website.
Right. Okay, cool. But you could send an article to all the other sites and just have it be online only, if for whatever reason you wanted to do that. But okay. And that's the nice thing about that is if you have the matching categories on all your papers, then it'll automatically assign to the same category, right?
Yeah, I just discovered that on one of my pairs of papers, I had one thing called opinion, another called letters to the editor, and I got to fix that. So good point.
Yeah, it's just easier to be consistent, because then you, like you said earlier, you need that category to get it to show up on the home page.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Well, this was a great session, Meg. It couldn't have gone any better. I think the one thing I will do when we do this for NNA, is probably not talk as much in the beginning. So we'll get to your part quicker. I'll cut that down a little bit, and I'll send you what I'm thinking to do with that. But this has been just wonderful. I appreciate you taking the time and talking to me so much today. And I know that the attendees have really appreciated this. And we're getting a lot of good comments here, and we'll probably be following up with these people. Brent, especially down at Savannah Reporter, I think he'll be following your lead on this. So this looks very cool. Now, let me just wrap this up here. I'm going to see if I can just take control of the screen again. How do I do?
I have a stop showing screen. You want me to hit that?
Oh, okay. I think I can actually take that.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay, cool. So that was our live demo with Meg. Again, thank you, Meg. I really appreciate you sharing your insight on this. I just want to give everyone a heads up. The ongoing virtual conference series with our hometown is still going strong. We started these monthly back in April, and we had one with Meg back then, but now we're doing them every 2 weeks. And actually, if you count office hours, we do them every week. So I just want to give you a heads up. And Brent, I'd love it if you want to join us on Monday. We'll go into this in more detail, and we're going to talk about those pro tips, like how to merge. We'll talk about how the bold and italics can come through. if you've got everything matched up right. So that'll be Monday at noon. This is just for our hometown customers, so sorry everyone else, but if you want to come to this, just join our hometown, and we do these every single Monday at noon. Then we've got the NNA virtual conference. We'll have Meg on that again, and we're actually going to be giving 4 other presentations. It's crazy. They wanted us to do everything that we suggested. Like I gave them 5 ideas, and they're like, okay, let's do all of them. So that's going to be a busy Friday and Saturday. A couple other conferences that I'm planning on doing, how to get started in video. I have just some, really simple tips if you're thinking about getting into video at all. Also getting started in audio, podcasting, just some easy ways that you can do that. Some automated ways that we have with audio articles to get into the podcast space, because there's a lot of people listening to podcasts now. And if we can get the news there too, why not? Assuming it doesn't, take too much time, and that's the name of the game. And then I'm going to have a dedicated session on strategies for growing your digital subscriber base. Just things like newsletter, getting things out on social media, running promotions, having coupons. So Meg, maybe you'll want to join us for that and think about as you kind of mull over the paywall model. And I think that's it. Just some quick background on our hometown, though. We're from upstate New York. We're a New York-based company, same as Meg, but we've been in business 23 years. We're 100% remote. We work with about 200 newspapers, mostly weeklies across the U.S. Deliver an average of 8 million monthly page views, but we are able to scale that to meet demand, like we saw in April. Actually, Meg, some of your sites, I think, nearly doubled in traffic during that month, and we were, able to meet that demand, no issues. So anyone on the call that wants to learn more, schedule a free demo and a free website audit, contact us, ourhometown.com/contact us. And that's all we've got for today. So I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for everyone staying on the whole hour. I really appreciate your attention. Let me just make a quick check here. I don't think we have any other questions, so we'll end the broadcast here. And again, thank you, Meg. I really appreciate you taking the time today.